Hello, everybody!
Just like two random girls having to be talking to you guys.
Shoes.
Woo!
Yay! This is going really well so far. See you on the flip side.
We don't care. We're gonna keep doing what we're doing, alright?
Oops, my bad.
That's big to know.
Because I curse like a sailor.
Like a trucker.
We got some
We got a lot.
stories.
We got a lot.
The theater. She my little friend.
Temporary technical difficulties. A little piece of my soul dies every time I think about inappropriate content coming your way.
Quarantine edition.
Home for fleas, high for bees, run as for birds. There ain't no words for the beauty, the splendor, the wonder of my head. Blow it, show it, always I can blow my hair.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to A View from the Mez, a chat with Broadway babes. I'm Gina.
And I'm Tracy.
We are so excited to be discussing the 2009 Broadway revival of Hair, which Tracy and I were both fortunate enough to see a few times, and we are even more ecstatic that Broadway actors Diana DeGarmo Young and Ace Young were so sweet and generous and agreed to make an appearance on today's episode. But because of scheduling conflicts, they can't be with us live tonight, but they did send a special video, so stay tuned for that later on in the episode. Before we get into things, we just wanted to give everyone an update on Broadway actor Nick Cordero, who, if you may have heard, has been battling for his life because he was affected with COVID-19. And about 3 hours ago, his wife Amanda Klutz said that he is starting to follow command and doing simple tracking. He is very weak, so even just opening his eyes is a struggle, but it is happening. He is starting to wake up. We are by no means out of the woods yet, and there are still concerns with other things, but this news today on his mental status is a win. So we are so happy to hear even the slightest bit of positive news for him. We are really pulling for him to pull through. He's an amazing actor, and I'm sure an even more amazing person. He's a husband, a father, and a bunch of other things, and I'm sure that everyone is like praying for him and sending him love and sending Amanda love. So we are so happy to hear the good news on him. So for today's episode, we cannot contain our excitement any longer. So let's get into it, Trey.
We are covering Hair today, as Gina said earlier. And before we really get into the mix of it, we wanted to share our outfits. G, what are you wearing tonight?
I have on overalls that have sunflowers all over them. Probably hard to see, but they're there.
Oh, I love it. And because Hair was all about love, I have my Ellen DeGeneres love shirt on. And it's a nice big red heart and it says love.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh, I love it. Super excited about it. And here we go. I'm so excited. Hair originally opened on Broadway on April 29th, 1968 at the Biltmore Theater. However, this was not its official first night, as it was playing in the East Village at Joseph Papp's Public Theater. The original production closed on July 1st of 1972 and played a total of 1,750 performances. While this isn't the production that we will be focusing on tonight in this episode, since neither of us were alive to see it, we wanted to mention that this production opened the Broadway musical to racial integration.
1/3 of the cast was African American. Except for satirical moments in the skits, the roles for the Black members of the tribe portrayed them as equals, breaking away from the traditional roles for Black people in entertainment as slaves or servants, which has gotten somewhat better in today's day and age, but unfortunately is still an issue. In an article of Ebony magazine, it was stated that the show was the biggest outlet for Black actors in the history of the U.S. stage.
Wow. The Revival, which is the production that we saw, opened on March 31st of 2009 at the Al Hirschfeld Theater and closed on June 27th of 2010, but then returned to Broadway for a limited run on July 13th, 2011 at the St. James Theater and closed on September 10th, 2011. The amazing score of songs from this musical really takes you back to the age of Aquarius and included some very well-known songs such as Hair, Good Morning Starshine, and Let the Sunshine In. The music was by composer, pianist, and writer of musical theater Galt McDermott, who unfortunately passed away not too long ago in December of 2018. While McDermott composed shows from the 1950s all the way up to 2009, his most successful works were Hair and Two Gentlemen of Verona.
The book and lyrics were by Jerome Ragney and James Ratto. Ragney and Ratto worked together for a number of years on a few projects, but parted ways for a period of time in the early 1970s. But it's safe to say that Hair was their most famous piece. This revival was directed by Diane Paulus, who has also directed plays and musicals such as Waitress, Finding Neverland, Pippin, and the list goes on and on and on. Choreography was by Carol Armitage, who has been choreographing shows since the late 70s that include Broadway shows, ballets, and operas as well.
Now, to get into the synopsis of Hair. The show takes place in the East Village of New York City in 1967. The United States is consumed in the Vietnam War, and this group of hippies continues to celebrate peace and love amongst it all. The Age of Aquarius was known as a time of harmony and understanding. Sex and drugs are used to avoid reality. The leader of the tribe is named Burger, and he has recently been banished from school and learns that draft notices have begun to circulate by his best friend Claude, who is also known for his marvelous hair. Some of the other tribe members are Sheila, who is a New York University student who is determined to be a political activist, Hud, who sings the song Colored Spade, and declares himself as the President of the United States of Love. There is also Wolf, who sings the song Sodomy, which is a hymn-like song that speaks to all that is seen as dirty about sex, and Chrissy, who is looking for a boy named Frank Mills, which is the title of a song that she sings. And last, but certainly not least, Jeannie, who is in love with Claude, but is very much pregnant with a crazy Speed Freaks baby. There is sort of a love triangle, or should I say square, between Sheila, Burger, Claude, and Jeannie. Although, it seems like everyone just loves each other in this show.
So, towards the end of Act 1, two tribe members dress up as tourists and ask members of the tribe why their hair is so long, and the tribe explains the significance of their locks in the title song Hair. The female tourist, who is played by a male tribe member in drag, responds in a touching song called My Conviction, and I love these lyrics. She says, "You know, kids, I wish every mother and father in this theater would go home tonight and make a speech to their teenagers and say, 'Kids, be free. No guilt. Be whoever you are. Do whatever you want to do as long as you don't hurt anyone,' right?" She then continues on to sing, "I would just like to say that it is my conviction that longer hair and other flamboyant affectations of appearance are nothing more than the male's emergence from his drab camouflage into the gaudy plumage, which is the birthright of his sex. There is a peculiar notion that elegant plumage and fine feather are not proper for the male, when actually that is the way things are in most species."
Well, right before intermission starts, the tribe emerges on stage completely naked as the boys burn their draft cards, except for Claude, who puts his card into the fire but then quickly retrieves it and pulls it out. It's been said that the nude scene was actually inspired by two men who took their clothes off to antagonize the police during an informal anti-war gathering.
Throughout the second act, Claude is preparing to leave for Vietnam, and all of his drug hallucinations are placing him in the middle of the war. He is suddenly dressed in his army uniform, calling out to his friends, but they are unable to hear him, all while they are singing songs during a beautifully crafted mashup of The Flesh Failures, Eyes Look Your Last, and Let the Sun Shine In. The final scene in the musical shows Claude in his uniform laying lifeless on top of a large American flag at center stage, while the cast sings a more solemn but yet powerful rendition of Let the Sun Shine In, which truly evokes goosebumps no matter how many times you hear it. And they proceed to exit the theater through the audience as snow falls on Claude and the flag.
I can just see it in my head, and it's making me get emotional.
I know. It's good. Always. Like, that's the one scene that, like, when I think of Hair, I think of that scene.
Yes, absolutely. Theater writer Scott Miller dove into the show's themes. Some of the themes are race, nudity, sexual freedom, drug use, pacifism, environmentalism, religion, and astrology. There are even literary themes and symbolism. The following information is credited to Miller's research, which we found to be very interesting. Miller pointed out that Hair references Shakespeare's plays, such as Romeo and Juliet and Hamlet, and even uses lyrical material directly from those pieces.
For example, the lyrics from the song What a Piece of Work is Man are from Hamlet, Act 2, Scene 2, and portions of Flesh Failures are from Hamlet's last lines. In Flesh Failures, Let the Sun Shine In, the lyrics, Eyes Look Your Last, Arms Take Your Last Embrace, and Lips, O you, the doors of breath, seal with a righteous kiss, are from Romeo and Juliet. According to Miller, the Romeo suicide imagery makes the point that with our complicity in war, we are killing ourselves. Miller also noted that symbolically, the running plot of Claude's indecision, especially his resistance to burning his draft card, which ultimately causes his demise, has been seen as a parallel to Hamlet, the melancholy hippie.
The symbolism is carried into the very last scene, where Claude appears as a ghostly spirit among his friends, wearing an army uniform, in an ironic echo of an earlier scene where he says, "I know what I want to be. Invisible." According to Public Theater artistic director Oscar Eustis, both Hair and Hamlet center on idealistic, brilliant men as they struggle to find their place in a world marred by war, violence, and venal politics. They see both the luminous possibilities and the harshest realities of being a human. In the end, unable to effectively combat the evil around them, they tragically succumb.
This show is unique in the way that there is no fourth wall. The cast interacted with the audience during the show by coming out into the audience and going right up to people, handing out flyers, asking them to join the be-in, playing with audience members' hair, holding their hands, and even brought a few people down to the front and danced with them during intermission. Then when the show ended, any willing audience members were welcome to get on stage during the curtain call to dance and sing with the cast. And for this revival, they actually had some sort of camera setup where they would broadcast and record your night onto a website, and then later on you could go back and look for your night and see yourself dancing on stage with the cast of Hair, which is pretty cool.
I wish that website was still up because I remember watching ours.
Is everything gone now?
I don't know. I'd have to look and give everybody a follow-up next week. But when I first went to see Hair, I literally had no knowledge about what the show was about, what I was about to walk into and see. And I was immediately enthralled. It was an amazing story and the music that made me want to get up and dance along with the cast. The audience participation, like Gina was saying, made me feel like I was part of the show. I loved this show from the minute the curtain went up to the minute they walked down the aisle singing Let the Sun Shine In, leaving Claude laying on the American flag while it snowed. the end, and that I was just bawling my eyes out, crying.
Same. I mean, this was truly one of the most fun Broadway shows I have ever seen and experienced. And it was one of those rare shows where I was laughing, dancing, and crying, sometimes all at the same time. So that was quite the experience.
Yep.
So, what is your favorite Hair song?
I don't think I can pick just one. There were so many amazing ballads, songs that made you just want to get up and dance, like we had mentioned. If I had to pick 3, it would be Aquarius, which is the opening, the song Hair, and the last song. It's a medley of 3 songs mashed together, which is The Flesh Failures, Eyes Look Your Last, and Let the Sun Shine In.
Yeah, same here. It was definitely hard to pick like one song because this is one of those albums that you could listen to the entire thing. There are certain albums where I have to be in a certain mood to listen to a song, and if I'm not in that zone or mood, I just hit next. But doesn't matter what mood I'm in, this is the one album that like I will listen straight through. And I think that's the same with Waitress actually for me, but it's very rare. So I guess I would say mine are Good Morning Starshine, Easy to Be Hard, Frank Mills, and then the last mashup that really just tugs at your heartstrings.
So now we're going to go into some really funny stories about our experiences together and with other people that we went to see the show with. I'm going to start with the very first time I saw this show and save the best story for last.
Oh, God. Okay.
I saw this show with my cousin Rachel. We did the lottery. So with Hair's lottery, it was different. You don't get front row seats as some shows do. You get box seats. So we went, it was the middle of the week, put our names in, and that day there were literally maybe 6 people that put their names into the lottery, so we all just got tickets that day. So we go up and I'm like asking her, what is this about? And she wouldn't tell me. She's like, it's peace and love and hippies, and that's it. That's all I'm telling you. So it starts and I'm watching and I'm like, wow, what a story. And they finish the last scene of the first act and I'm like,
they're naked.
And then during the second act was when they really started to interact with the people in the box. And that's when, I don't know, I must have like a target on my back that says like, mess with me, I'm a good sport.
You definitely did that. Yeah, you do.
Because during the second act, I had somebody's boa wrapped around my entire head while the girl sat in my lap.
Of course. Not surprised.
And told me all about her boa that was indeed a real person and had feelings, and she introduced me to the boa as she was wrapping it around my face. And then once she left, she came back to visit me at least 4 times in the second act. But also, there's a song in the second act where it's supposed to be Abraham Lincoln on stage. And it's the woman dressed as Abraham Lincoln, and she's singing 7 years ago. She's singing his Gettysburg Address. And at the end, they have oh my God, what is his name?
Burger?
Who shot Lincoln?
John Wilkes Booth.
Thank you. John Wilkes Booth, like, go bang, and he rested his gun on my shoulder and goes, bang, right in my ear. And I was like,
No, I would have died. There's no way.
I almost fell out of my chair. I remember leaving the show and going right away, I need to see this with Gina.
Of course.
So I remember we were both college students at this point. I think I was a senior and you were a junior.
Definitely, because this was 2010. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or no, I was in the end of my junior year and you were in the end of your sophomore year.
Oh, babies.
So yes, we were absolutely babies. And I'm trying to, so I was like, we need to go and see this show. And I remember going into the city at like 9:00 in the morning, getting on the bus and going in so that we could be like the first in line with our discount student tickets.
And we had to have our student IDs. Oh,
yeah. Because we thought we were the coolest people on the block with our college student IDs.
I mean, we were, but that's another story.
And I remember you saying, Trey, I can't buy my ticket. Like, I can't tell my mom that I'm buying my ticket. So I'm going to tell her that you bought my ticket. And that's it.
I was a broke college student, like, shouldn't have been going into the city, but Tracy and I covered for each other constantly throughout high school. So I'm like, this is fine.
So I was like, okay, yeah, sure. All right, whatever. So I bought her ticket, quote unquote. And
hey, Mom, your lawyer got it now.
And then I remember we went home for a few hours, got dolled up, and then went back and had dinner at Schnipper's.
Thank God you remember all of this, because it's like out of my memory.
Oh, I never forget a show, especially. But
well, I remember the show, but I don't remember all the details like leading up to it. Yeah. Thank God for you.
We had dinner at Schnipper's. We walked down to the Al Hirschfeld Theater, and I remember we saw a bus that had the hair logo on it. And of course, because we were silly college students, we had to pose for pictures with the bus. And we were like, woo, hair, woo, hair.
Did we sing in front of it too, though?
We may have.
I feel like that's something we would have done.
Yeah, we probably did. So we go, we sit. We had awesome seats right on the aisle of the orchestra. So we were right there. We had a bunch of audience participation during the first act. And I remember during intermission, we were both so excited. We were like, Diana DeGarmo, Diana DeGarmo, Diana DeGarmo. And you more than me, because did you see her on American Idol?
Yes, I followed American Idol back in the day.
Yes, so I had only seen parts of American Idol when she was on it, but I remember you were like, Trey, I need to meet Diana DeGarmo. Like, that's it. Like, I need to meet her. Like, it's happening. And we went and waited on a long line for the bathroom, because what else do you do during a Broadway intermission except for waiting online for the bathroom?
Yep.
We come back. We sit in our seats. I think you were on the aisle and I was the second in or whatever.
Yes, you made me sit on the aisle because you said that I had to experience it.
Yes. Okay. So second act is about to start. Like, they're flashing the lights and you start freaking out and you're like, Trey, I don't know where my glasses are. And I was like, what? So we're looking on the floor. We're emptying your purse, and you're like, I think I left them in the bathroom on the sink. Yeah. And you go running out. Well, not 2 minutes later.
Well, because let's just preface this by saying this was back in the day when I didn't need glasses all the time and contacts all the time. So I didn't have contacts. I literally wore glasses just for when things were far away from me. And I really wanted to get a good look. And back in the day.
So Gina goes running out. And not 2 minutes later, second act starts, and the cast comes running in from the back of the theater. And who stops right next to our row and starts singing to me and giving me high fives, but Diana DeGarmo. And I'm like, she's going to be so mad at me when I tell her what she missed. So Diana goes running up towards the stage, and I'm sitting there, and I go to quickly send Gina a text, hurry up, it's starting, I hope you found your glasses. And all of a sudden I get a tap on my shoulder and a hand, and it is I need to look up his name, I'm sorry, because it was one of the main characters, and he was
Neil Burkhart?
No, Wallace Smith. Okay, Wallace Smith. Okay, he comes up, he's got a big afro wig on, and I thought he wanted me to give him a high five. Okay? Because he went like this. So I was like, high five?
No.
And I'm like, oh God, here we go. So I grab his hand, and he helps me stand up, and he's like, come on. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? So we start walking towards the stage, and how the stage was set up is there are steps leading up. And I'm like, I am not going on stage right now. No. So he stops right before the steps, and he's like, we're just going to dance, you and me. And he starts dancing, and he is whispering sweet nothings in my ear. And all of a sudden I feel hands in the back of my hair, going like this. And I turn around, and it's Steele Burkhart, who plays Burger. And the two of them just start dancing with me in the middle. And I'm like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden they spin me. And I look out into the audience, and I'm the only person up with the two of them, and the whole audience is clapping at me. And I'm like, oh God, I need to get back to my seat as soon as possible.
And of course I missed most of this, because then I come back from the bathroom. I don't think I actually found my glasses, right? They were gone.
No, you did.
Remember.
They were on the sink.
They were there? See, I don't remember any of that. I can't remember. All I remember is oh my God, I lied to my family and said I didn't pay for these tickets, and now I'm gonna go home and be like, I don't know where my glasses are. But I come back from looking for my glasses, and I am looking for Tracy because it's dark because the show had started, and I'm looking, and then I realized oh, this is my row. This is the aisle that I'm sitting on. Here's our stuff on the floor. And I'm just kind of I'm crouching down because I didn't want to be in anyone's way. And I'm looking, and the person that was sitting behind us taps my shoulder, and I turn around, and she's pointing to the stage going, she's up there. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I can't believe I missed most of it. Because by the time I had gotten there, you were coming back. So then after you and I saw it, I was like, oh, I'm going to bring my boyfriend and his family. Let's go see Hair, because they grew up in the 70s. They lived through the 70s. So I'm like, this will be a fun experience. And we go see it, and we're sitting there watching. And right before intermission hits, boom, everyone's naked on stage. And as the curtain comes down for intermission, my boyfriend grabs me by the arm and goes, what did you bring my parents to? And I'm like, oh, please. They lived through this. And I lean over. I'm like, didn't you guys you guys saw the movie? You guys have lived through this? And they're like, mm-hmm. I'm like, we're all adults here. It's not anything that no one's ever seen before.
Right.
So, we're good. It's all good.
Oh, hair stories.
Yeah, never will forget those stories.
No, never.
At least, like, the details of the stories, and because I forgot everything leading up to that. That's why I have you, so.
Yep. Me. All right, guys, moving back into our information. So, this revival received really awesome reviews. Ben Brantley of the New York Times wrote that it was thrilling. This emotionally rich revival delivers what Broadway otherwise hasn't felt this season: intense, unadulterated joy. Cuddly, sweet, madcap, and ecstatic. The young cast members are tearing down the house, and any theatergoer with a pulse will find it hard to resist their invitation to join the demolition crew.
Elizabeth Vincentilli from the New York Post said it was triumphant, glorious, and breathtaking. Hair is a musical for the ages because it's a musical for the now. While this revival was nominated for 8 Tony Awards and 8 Drama Desk Awards, it only took home 1 Tony and 1 Drama Desk. Both were for Best Revival of a Musical.
Some actors who have let the sunshine in were Diana DeGarmo and Ace Young, who are married in real life, but on stage portrayed Sheila and Berger, Gavin Creel, Steele Burkhart, Casey Levy, Will Swenson, Annalie Ashford, and so many more.
All right, you guys, this is the moment we were both super excited for, and we know you all were too. We are so very fortunate that Diana DeGarmo Young and Ace Young took the time to send us a video to talk about their experience on Broadway in this amazing show. Take a look.
Well, hello, I'm Diana DeGarmo.
And I'm Ace Young here. We want to welcome you to A View from the Mess.
Ooh, we were asked to share a little story about our time in Hair, and let's be real, we could talk about that for the next 6 hours and probably then some. So
Easily. We'd actually talk longer than the show.
Yes. So we've tried to get down to a couple of our favorite memories because it was a very special time for us. It's the show where we met and fell in love and didn't even realize it was happening until after the show was closed, because just say no to showmance.
Don't do it.
It makes good people crazy.
All right, so Diana, what is your, I can't say favorite, what is one of your top memories from Hair?
One of the first ones that came to mind was the first time I had to get naked in front of a bunch of co-workers.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so when we were replacing the original Broadway company, we were really lucky that we got to rehearse the final week in the theater, which I thought was extra special and kind of felt like a spoil because the show was obviously already up and running. They had 28 new cast members coming in.
Cast members.
So basically
About
the
3
entire
weeks.
show was being recast, and
We had 3 weeks.
yes. And when we did the moment where we were all set to unclothe, yes, and reveal our true selves, the creative team made sure that we did it in stages, which I thought was very smart. So we were able to kind of work our way up to it. We weren't just thrown in naked into the middle of the Hirschfeld Theater.
Wow.
We were able to kind of work up to it.
It was very classy. We actually didn't do our first run through of that moment until the day before we opened.
Yes.
So we had 3 weeks to get to know each other, get comfortable with the cast,
Learn the
get
show.
comfortable with the show and the movement that was the show, also our roles and our characters. And when it got to the point of the day before opening, we all got to do the actual reveal and stand strong as a full company across the entire stage, and it was a beautiful moment.
But what I was going to say was the 3 stages right before. So we did a run through where we just mimed the costume change, because we actually changed in the lobby of the theater on the upper level, on the mezzanine level. Hey! And So we kind of mimed it with the dressers, like, and each dresser was with their person going, okay, now we would do this and he would do that, just to kind of get the flow of the timing, and then did the end of Act 1 in our costumes without changing. And then the second time we did the costume change where you actually were naked underneath. So we got to feel what that felt like. So we ended Act 1 not changing, not revealing ourselves, but doing the change and doing the whole number without undies on, which that's a whole new experience, y'all. Dancing in a dress.
Is there a fan on?
Right? It's quite breezy. Well, we were very sweaty, so also everything was sticking everywhere. I have vivid memories of that.
How did you feel after opening night, though? Because the third step's coming.
Well, you're missing one, though.
Ready. I forgot.
Yes. This is why he married me. When we did the final run-through, before we opened, we did the whole rigmarole. So we went up, did the costume change, you go out, you do the number, and all of the dressers are waiting in the wings. As soon as the siren would
go off
to end Act 1, everyone would run off stage, little booties jiggling as we ran off, and dressers would be waiting there with the robes open to kind of catch you and get you covered as quickly as possible. Some folks kind of moseyed Ace because they don't mind being naked. My little southern self, it took me a little moment to get there, but I remember during that run, we actually broke for lunch right after that, and the entire company sat in the lobby of the Hirschfeld in just our robes, but
lunch.
naked.
I remember.
They provided us lunch. We all had these little boxed lunches sitting in I will never forget it, sitting in our fuzzy robes.
Felt like a spa moment.
Yes. In the middle
classy.
of the Al Hirschfeld Theater.
It was very classy.
I will never forget it. It was so cool. It was definitely a bonding moment. And I loved that moment every night I got to do it on stage.
And it was very freeing. Yeah. That was the most amazing thing about that moment, because it was my first time doing that as well.
What's your favorite memory?
It was very freeing. My favorite memory with hair is Plain Burger was the most active character physically I have ever played. And I'm a very active person, as you saw with my discussing right there with the hands. I talk with my hands.
The podcast people really can see all
they're
of
like,
this.
whoa, his hand was right in my face. But I actually got such a workout having that character on stage for 8 shows a week that I didn't have to go to the gym at all. What I had to do was actually eat all day.
Y'all, this guy would eat two Chipotle burritos between a matinee and an evening show on a Saturday. And if I even look at something spicy before a show, I get indigestion. He would house 2 giant Chipotle burritos.
I was like, let's go get naked.
Yeah, I couldn't do that with or without the getting naked part. Like, no. But I think I can speak for both of us when we say that being a part of the hair tribe was life-changing.
Most definitely. And we've actually been able to run into other casts for years.
The cast and the crew, everyone, the production team, everyone was so close, and we practiced what we preached. It wasn't just about a show, it was a movement, and I loved being a part of it. I was devastated when it closed, I think, like many of us in our company. But
we become really good friends with our tribe and all other tribes, all the way back to the original tribe of Broadway. It's been really, really a life-changing experience, and obviously a personal life-changing for us as well, because we wouldn't have met each other.
Thanks, Diane Paulus.
Thanks for hooking us up. Can't wait to work with you on the next one.
Yep.
But that's our stories from hair.
We could talk for hours, but I hope you enjoyed that little bit from us, and maybe one day we'll dive into the other 5.5 hours worth of information.
Oh, there's more. But wait.
There's more. Take care and be well. Stay safe and sane, y'all.
I can't even, there are no words. I am
no words.
Fangirling right now. Like the fangirling is strong. Like there's no words for it. I am so happy that they shared their experience with us, and so grateful. Thank you both so much. That was amazing.
I'm going to be honest, I cried a little bit watching this video because it just it hit home. Like, we just watching them talk about their experience and then remembering it, I, like Gina, was totally fangirling over both of them and was just so thankful. And like, Gina and I are both feeling so blessed that they even took the time to make us a personalized video about their time in hair.
So sweet. Oh my gosh, we will never forget that. I remember getting the video in our email and texting Tracy being like, they sent us their video. And then I watched it and I'm crying and my husband's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, look at this. And then Tracy's on the phone with me and Tracy's saying to Chris, we got the video. I'm downloading it right now. Gina's on the phone crying.
It was just a surreal moment. It was such, I don't even have words. I have no words.
Me either. We just are so appreciative, and you guys are so sweet and generous and kind and just both amazing and so talented on top of everything, and we can't thank you both enough.
Thank you, Diana and Ace.
We love you, Diana and Ace,
so much.
Well, that was a very fun and exciting episode. But before Tracy picks next week's show, we wanted to update you all on a few of our amazing upcoming guests, if you haven't already seen on our social media posts. Next week's episode, which will air on Wednesday, May 20th, we will be joined by Philly-based actor and activist Christopher David Roche, who has worked on stage at some reputable theaters such as Sierra Repertory Theater, the Walnut Street Theater, and more. Then on May 27th, we will be joined by Broadway's Phantom of the Opera actor Chris Giorgetti. So stay tuned for those. We cannot wait.
I was going through all of my Broadway stuff the other day, and I found my signed playbill from when we went.
Oh.
And there's autographs on the back too, but you can't see it because it's in this plastic case so it doesn't die on me.
That's awesome.
But here we go. I got the hat. Got shake.
Serious business. She's shaking it up.
This is really serious business, guys. Like, picking a show is not easy. Ready? All right, here we go.
Yes.
Oh, it looks like a long title.
Oh my goodness. I'm nervous.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
The suspense is killing me as usual.
There have been 2 movies.
Mm-hmm.
One animated, one not. Disney. It was my nickname on my Zoom.
Beauty and the Beast.
Girlfriend, we are covering Beauty and the Beast next week, everybody.
Oh, you guys, my childhood.
Too. Oh, I loved this show.
Me too.
I'm so excited.
I'm so happy. It's going to be so cute.
Well, guys, we are more than happy to always answer any of your questions that you may have for us. Send them our way, either through our Instagram or our Facebook page, or you can always email us at aviewfromthemez@gmail.com. We love you all so much. Thank you again, Diana and Ace. And thank you to our followers for taking this journey with us, liking, subscribing, commenting, and all of the other good stuff. Stay safe and healthy out there, everybody, and let the sun shine in. Until next time, I'm Tracy.
And I'm Gina.
And this is A View from the Mez, a chat with Broadway babes. See you next week. Mwah.
Oh,